Okay, so what we're working with here is a 2018 Toyota Tacoma. This is a regular key vehicle, not a smart key. And this is the same installation as the 2016 and 17 Tacoma. The first thing you're going to do is start the vehicle. And the reason we're going to start the vehicle is so we can access these screws that are behind the steering column. Those two screws need to be removed. Once you remove those screws, shut the vehicle off. Do not forget to shut the vehicle off. And then go ahead and remove this lower steering column cover here. Okay, now that lower steering column cover is removed, go ahead and do your tilt wheel release and pull the wheel all the way out. The reason for this is when you tie your wires up, you want to make sure the wheel is pulled all the way towards you so that when you install it, once you're done, if the wheel isn't all the way towards you and you have your wires tied up, when you pull the wheel out, you're going to pull on those wires as well. So like I said, go ahead and pull the wheel all the way out. You can lock this back up. Next thing we're going to do is remove 3 screws from the bottom of the dashboard. One of those screws is down here. The next one is here. And then the last one is behind this cover right there. They're all 10 millimeter. So remove those 3 screws. Okay, now that those screws are removed, we're actually going to unclip this lower panel. The airbag does not unclip with it. This outer piece, all of this unclips. You can use a panel tool and pry in here, or you literally can just grab a hold of it and pull it down. And there you have it. This is as far as you have to go to install the remote starter. The remote starter is going to get mounted here. So you're going to run wires from this location. For the ignition wiring, you're going to run it behind this metal panel back here and then up to your ignition switch. The first connector you're looking for is actually this main ignition connector. You're going to go ahead and unplug that, and then you're going to plug in the mating connectors from the remote starter that match up with those connectors. Okay, so again, we're going to unplug the ignition switch, and the ignition switch will plug into this connector, and then this connector will plug into where you just unplugged the ignition switch. Keep in mind when you're making these connections that you need to be able to tie these wires up here. This right here is the lowest point of where any wires can be. If any wires are below this, your steering column cover is not going to go back on correctly, and it's going to rub on the steering wheel. So you want to make sure, take your wire ties, tie up everything tight in here, tie it up to this harness down here, and you'll be good. The next connection you're looking for is this OBD connector here. You're going to unclip this from the bracket. The way you do that, you just push in on one side and it will unclip. You're going to now take the OBD connector from the remote starter here, put it back where you just removed that connector from, and then you're going to plug the connector you removed into this. The next connection you're looking for is this one here. You're going to unplug this one, and again you're going to plug the remote starter connector into here, and then you're going to plug this connector back into here. Once you've done all of that, the remote starter connections are all completely made. Obviously, first thing you want to do is program the remote starter following the instructions that came with your remote starter. Once you've done that, test the remote starter and then tie everything up so that nothing is going to interfere with anything like that steering column that moves. You don't want to get any wires near that. Tie all your wires up to, to these harnesses here, and then just zip tie your remote starter right up inside here, keeping in mind that this pocket has to go there. So put it in far enough that it's not going to interfere with that pocket, and then you're good to go. Thanks.